Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Moms Talks Sex podcast. I'm your host, Maury Yelvington of Morph Transform Your Reality, where I help women step out of trauma and reclaim their power. I'm so happy to have you here for this open conversation about moms, sex, motherhood, children, relationships, marriage, and everything in between. So grab your drink of choice and let's dive in. I'm so happy that you're here today because I wanted to talk about a very important topic that I think we just tend to ignore, especially as moms. So I'm going to share with you a little story about my own personal journey and my self-healing, because as someone that experienced trauma in their life, especially early on in life, and someone that's been healing and helping a lot of women step out of trauma and feel safe and seen in their body, I'm always constantly working on myself. It's never a question of, is it beneficial for me? Is it important for me? It's just part of my soul care. I've been doing it for over 20 years now because I've realized that when stuff is in the background, it just prevents me from being the person I want to be in this lifetime. So when I have stuff coming up and things are triggering me, especially in my relationships with my children and with my husband, I know there's stuff in the background that's running that I'm not aware of. And so my weekly healing sessions with my own healer, my own energy healer, really help me see things differently. Because a lot of what I'm dealing with is underneath the surface in my subconscious brain, held in my body, deep down in places that I'm not connected to. So I'm going to share with you my latest release that I actually have done today, because it was a really big one. And I think this would help a lot of you maybe kind of tune into your own self-worth and self-love and get a better evaluation of what does it look like when we experience trauma. So if you follow me for a while, you know I lost my father when I was 9. Before that, my parents got divorced when I was 6. And so at that point, my relationship with my mom, I was really mad at her. I blamed her for the divorce, even though later on in life I realized that wasn't the case. And when my dad died, I felt like the only person that really loved me, which wasn't the case again, but as a 9-year-old, I felt like, and we really had a special bond, me and him. And when he left, I felt like the only person in the world that really loved me abandoned me. And so for years after that, I was way too scared to let anybody in to really love me. And I actually felt like if I was really myself and it was really me, nobody would really love me for who I was. And I also didn't let anybody in because it was this superficial, right? I could let you in to a point, but if I felt like it was too close, I would kind of push away, pull away. And so much of that is actually held in the body in a subconscious way. I wasn't aware I was doing it. I wasn't aware that I was pushing people away. I wasn't aware that I wasn't letting people in. I wasn't aware that it was affecting my relationship with my children and with my husband. And so I've been working on this self-love and self-care for a few years now. But today in my session, there was a whole other level of vulnerability. And really finding that I took on a lot of the accident, the pain from the accident, into my heart, into my body. And so really having that awareness and really releasing this really opened the door for me to be so much more aware to where I'm blocking receiving. As women, especially when we experience something traumatic, we tend to cut off so many parts of us, especially the parts that nourish us, the parts that allow the receiving, because receiving a lot of times can be detected as painful. So I'm curious, have you ever experienced trauma or abandonment that left you feeling like receiving is painful. And because of that, you cut parts of you off energetically, to speak. So when this happens, obviously we're not aware of it. We don't know that this happens. But what I realize with my clients and with myself is that when we go through this, we just disconnect from our body. We disconnect from our body, and also parts of us, soul pieces of us, leave the body and disconnect and leave with the other person. So there's a process that I love to do with my clients that is creating a safe place as your body being safe again. Bringing back those pieces of you, and then bringing back your soul into the body so you can start receiving again. I know a lot of us, we deal with different, we might be really great at some things, and then some things we're kind of struggling with. Sometimes mainly, it's like a money thing, a job thing, a relationship thing, a body thing. And so to share awareness with you about this, I would say start paying attention to where you have triggers. Start paying attention to the areas in your life that you're struggling with. Maybe it's your body, maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's financial. And start looking at where are you blocking receiving in those areas, because that would start shedding light to where you're holding on to the trauma. And the thing is that when it comes to sex, specifically, because to me, sex is the source, right? The source of everything. We, a lot of times as women, we disconnect that part of us, the source of us. But we don't realize that this part of us actually is the creative part. And that creative part is what brings us joy, what brings us pleasure, what makes us in the flow. And so one of the biggest goals that I have, if not the biggest, goes hand in hand with eradicating sexual abuse on our planet, is to reconnect you to your source. Because when you can be in that source, you can be in that creative energy, you can be on the orgasmic vibes, you will create the most amazing life. And that's why I call it the diamond effect. So I wanted to share with you that my new toolkit, Pocket Therapy, it's out. It's only $99, but it's a set of processes that you can listen to whenever you need support to start gaining awareness to the places that you keep yourself stuck. And when the anger comes up and the anxiety comes up and the fear comes up, you could just tap the button, listen to the process, do it. It's about 5 to 10 minute process. Tune into it and release those emotions. So anger doesn't control you anymore. So fear doesn't control you anymore. And so you can start gaining awareness to the places in you that are keeping you stuck, that are keeping you closed, keeping you away from the relationships you want to have with your husband, with your children, keeping you away from that financial freedom that you want, keeping you away from that body that you desire. So if this sounds anything like you and what I'm saying is really resonating with you, please like and comment on the podcast. I would really appreciate that. And also check out the Pocket Therapy. There's a lot of greatness in that product. Like, I'm so proud of it. I put some heart and soul into it, and it is really amazing if you use it the way I intended it to be used. And if there's more stuff that's coming up beyond this for you, and you really feel like you've been disconnected from your body, you experienced trauma, and you want to heal the body, and you want to come back to it, just go into the links, schedule a free consultation. I would love to sit with you. I would love to get to see your face, get to know you, and connect with you. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If this was a contribution to you, please share, like, love, and comment. I would love to hear from you more, and make sure to follow us on Morph Healing. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember, you are here for a reason. I see you. Love more.